I'll call this meeting of the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners Budget Workshop to order. I've asked Commissioner Sharon Langford to lead our minds in prayer, and Commissioner Martin's going to do the flag. And if you'll silence your devices, we'll get started.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you've given us, Lord. We ask that you be with our military, our first responders. We ask that you be with those who are sick and help comfort those who have lost loved ones. We ask, Lord, that we ask you to forgive us, Lord, for any shortfalls that we have had, Lord. We ask that you be with us today as we go about our meeting and our workshop, Lord. We ask that you keep our minds open and help us make the best decision and the right decision that's beneficial to the citizens of Gilchrist County. We ask you these things in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think after this meeting, we're going straight into our regular meeting. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Who's going to start it off?
Mr. Chair, I believe I'll start off today with a caveat. So we had been working all morning on getting these slides prepared for the board for this meeting. And after we got them all completed, we received a revised request from the sheriff. We had sent him a request, from the board last week, indicating that the board would like him to bring back a revised request, reducing his increase by the $397,000. And it came out a little bit different. So I'm gonna start out with the slides that we did and kind of tell you where it's going to be different, and we'll roll into the changes that the sheriff made. So with that, our first slide basically shows our changes from our last workshop. It shows an increase of $57.90 for legal counsel. The board decrease of $397,187, that was the request that we sent to the sheriff. And then an additional reduction. Last meeting, the board had requested us to meet with the supervisor of elections, Mr. Crosby, and myself. We had some meetings with her, and she did provide a reduction of $14,000 as of right this moment. She has indicated that she may be able to provide an additional $17,000, but she will not know the answer to that for another couple days.
Good.
So as of right now, we're using the $14,000 number, and if she's able to provide the additional $17,000, then we'll put that in as well.
Todd, do you know what she removed?
I know she removed $5,000 for a server, and the additional, I'm not 100% certain. The $17,000 that she's providing, she told me what that was for, and I had a note, and I don't see my note. It was for Dominion, correct. So she had conversations with Dominion, and again, depending on the results of that conversation, she may be able to provide that additional $17,000.
We appreciate her working with us.
Yeah,
I will.
Do you know if we're still planning on early voting up on the north end?
I'm not certain on that. Go ahead.
I don't know if she is or not. She said it was very, very minimal to the budget, so I don't know if the budget would
Okay.
have anything to do that.
Yeah.
I think there still may some additional details that's gotta be worked out on that, so,
I mean, I think all of us, everybody here would like to be able to offer, if it's reasonable in cost, opportunity for, the whole county to vote early and not to drive a long ways, and nobody's gonna argue with it, I don't think. But, anyway, appreciate that. Yeah.
The next slide shows the changes to other funds. So this is basically taking the EMS MSTU to rollback. which provides a reduction in revenue of $146,777. And that was based on the board's, guidance on what we're looking at doing in the MSTU.
That's dropping down to a point
That's dropping down to point
9.
9026 from 1.0.
From 1.0. Okay.
All right, so the next slide is reflecting what I was referring to. So this is based on the information that we received. I believe we did provide a packet in addition to this that is the sheriff's change, his new submission. But these show a reflection of the changes that they submitted. So it was a slight increase in court admin bailiff of $10,000, a reduction in law enforcement of right at $218,000, a decrease in dispatch of $8,700, and a decrease of detention and corrections of just over $22,000. One of the glitches in the change that he submitted was in the lease appropriations that we received from the state. If you look in the book, in his original request, their original request reflected the 486,422, which was the same number from this year. But the state had actually increased our LISA number to 601,256. So in his new response, he did increase next year's number to the 601,000. That changes his request by 114,834. The challenge in that is that we've already budgeted for that $601,000. And so when the board requested the reduction of the 397,187, some of the way that he's filling that gap is through this LISA money. But again, we had already accounted for that, so it's not increasing any revenue to the board, and it's not decreasing any expenses to the board. So again, therein's the challenge. The total difference between what the board requested and what the sheriff's provided in his new submission is $158,972.
That we're gonna be in like negative.
Right, that's the difference in what, we were, on that first slide, we had accounted for a decrease in $397,000. But in reality, this is not providing the full 397. It's only, it's $159,000 short. So the board has, there's a decision to be made of, where do we go from here? There's, the one option would be just to, accept the new submission as it is, and we just have to figure out where do we come up with the other $159,000. The board could request that, they stick to the number of the 397. I will tell you this, in looking at their new submission, it did appear that their original request had last year's FRS numbers in it. And in doing my calculations, we went through the numbers, and it does appear that the sheriff's FRS expense is probably going to go up around $119,000. So therein lies the challenge. There is what appears to be, a realized expense that the sheriff doesn't really have any control over. But again, it's a question of, what direction does the board want to go with this? How do you want to handle this?
So really, there's a difference of, instead of 397,187, it's 357,438, isn't it?
Correct.
Is there any way I know we asked the supervisor of elections to go back, and she did, she cut 14,000
$14,000.
and possibly 17 more. Could we ask and we went, Mr. Crosby, and I think y'all met, and we cut in our departments. Could we ask the constitutional officers if they could relook at, you know, I mean, including you too, you're a constitutional officer.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if
look
you
at
do
your
recall,
budget.
I did provide initially a decrease in
I
my
know,
budget
I know.
request.
I'm just.
So
you
I would
know,
hope that the board would take that into consideration.
We are, but I'm
Um,
just saying, is that something we can ask everybody to
It,
do?
it's always an option for the board, to do that,
Mhm.
you know, to make those requests. I can tell you this, we are running short on time. You know, today is the 18th. We basically have 2 weeks, until the week of our final, or not our final, but our tentative budget workshop. And so we do still have some time. I'm not saying we're out of time. I'm just saying we are running short. So whatever we were going to do, we don't have any additional workshops scheduled at this point. So if we were going to do that, we would need to go ahead and schedule another workshop. And, you know, between now and then, we could do, you know, whatever the board directs. So,
We're talking about a difference of 39,749.
No, 100.
well, it's actually 100 and, basically 159,000 is the difference between what the board requested and what was provided
Okay,
in
but I was
in
thinking
decreases.
119,223 FRS correction that they didn't have in there, they gotta go up anyway.
Yeah, so
So-
they,
That's where I came up with the difference of
Gotcha.
39.
But yeah, that would be the difference between the FRS and what their difference is, yes. Now, in addition to that, you know, let's look at the actual fund balance
what page is that on?
sheet. It's going to be your next slide. So currently, the general fund at 8.5 mils is in the deficit by 93,511. So without taking the sheriff's changes into account, you know, we're currently right at 100,000 deficit. If you add in the additional 159,000, we are currently 252,483 in deficit,
250.
252,483. So there, you know, again, it's a question of where do we go from here? Like where do we want to look? You know, there's been the, you know, question about other constitutional officers. Can they cut? I know, just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure the property appraiser had a 2.5% increase,
Total.
which was based on FRS and health insurance.
Theirs goes by the state too.
And it does go through the state.
Oh.
The tax collector had about the same increase, around 2.5%. So can we go back to constitutionals and ask? Absolutely. The question is are we gonna find
not gonna
a
get
whole
that
lot?
much.
I
No, we're
don't
not.
know that there's much there,
not gonna
based
get
on their
252.
requests.
No.
I can tell you, the only other large item that's still hanging out there that could be looked at would be the chip and seal. You know, we budgeted 500,000 for chip and seal for next year. You know, we could look at reducing that in order to get us where we need to be.
We cut our chip and seal in half, that would give us the money to balance our budget, and then as the year goes on, if we see we are doing financially well, that we haven't had a major disastrous storm come through and everybody's, has been doing well with their budgets, and then could we increase that later in the year as we get a chance to see, hey, things are a lot better off than we thought they were gonna be?
I mean, technically, I mean, it is an option for the board to look at. You know, you would obviously be doing a budget amendment if you did that.
Why can't
And-
we, go ahead, finish
No,
up.
go ahead.
Why couldn't we do 250 out of their,
Fund balance.
out of the fund balance? And then the other 250 here, and the fund balance would just be a one-time thing, you know, because we're just, you know, it's not gonna be something that's reoccurring. Chip and seal, we don't know how it's gonna work this year. And then that way, we wouldn't have to go and do a budget amendment later on, just go take 250 out of the fund balance 250 out of our budget here, and then we would still have the 500,000.
I think the five.
That's what I would like to do.
Yeah, I like that idea. The 500,000 allowed us to essentially take 1 mile in each one of our 5 districts. And if you cut that, we're gonna shorten that.
Mhm.
So I like the idea of taking it out of fund balance. I mean, I know we don't wanna do that often. We can't do it every year. But we've got 15.5 million projected at the end of September.
So we're doing 1 mile in each district? I
Well,
think
that was kind of, I think,
I didn't understand that.
that was a goal of 1 mile.
In each
If
district, I didn't,
if they cost 100,000 per
Okay.
mile.
I thought we were gonna look at the roads too, because some people may have longer than a mile, look at the roads that
Well,
are in the most need.
I think we can look at it, if I've only got a half a mile to do and you've got,
Right,
1.5 miles, I'm sure we can all
right,
decide on a road, but
yeah,
I think what it was, is to split it
Yeah.
evenly across the county, instead of just spending it all in one spot, we wanted to be able to, everybody across the county to see.
well, I think we need to have a plan, because,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like
we
a
need to have
5-10 year plan, because, I mean, like in Kendrick's district, he may have a road that's 3 miles long or whatever, or my district, your district,
Yeah.
you know,
Me and Tom, we just got Gay Road done, so.
yeah, I mean, I have a
They
road in my
got-
district that's in,
Yeah, I want
it's
to-
travel.
That's what I say, you could take my mile and give it to somebody else.
I didn't know we were just specifying, 1 mile in each district,
No,
I didn't hear that,
I
so.
think it's go around the county
Where we
and
need
find
it.
out what needs.
Just
to
like we
be
do
done.
scrap and scuff right now, but, sometimes we don't get roads in our district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm satisfied we're,
yeah,
with Gay Road and got Dixie Road on the
absolutely,
docket. Can't ask them much more.
yeah.
Yeah, the chip and seal, I think I hate to use the word luxuries, but they're things that will be very nice to have.
Absolutely.
And certain roads certainly need it to be done, and if your road's 2 miles long, then, I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
We can switch it around.
I mean,
It's not definitely only 1 mile in each district, I don't think.
I was gonna even bring up today, but now that we're gonna have to already take 250 out, if that's the way we do, out of the fund balance, I was gonna bring up, taking out a little bit more out of the fund balance to go to chip and seal, but since we're already talking about $250,000, then, that's probably not gonna be an option this year.
I think one of our biggest issues too is, it seems like the road department gets underwater
Mhm.
every year. I don't know, we just transferred, a bunch of money there. Of course, we bought a bunch of equipment in the past, and I understand where a lot of that is coming from. I do understand that. I'm gonna go ahead and make a suggestion myself too, and this is probably not for today, but I think it's something that we need to work towards. When I say that, it's like animal control. We asked for what, another half a position or something, Bobby? I would like for us, instead of having more animal control, I'd like to see us have less animal control. And the reason I say that, we're budgeting almost $300,000 for animal control. And that's basically to police people and try to get them to, handle their animals, keep them in, or whatever the case may be. I've looked at the animal control policies and everything, and I know it's Florida statute, is that right, dude?
That's right.
I'd like to sit down and see if we can make some changes to that and do things different. When I say that, talking with Erica, about 80% of the people comply. Well, my thought is, let's make the 20% that don't comply help us pay for animal control. Fine them, up the fines, or charge them this or charge them that, and really get down to where people will have to do something with their animals, or they'll have to get rid of it. I mean, the solution to me is, if I'm gonna have an animal, I need to be able, as an animal owner, I'll be able to control that animal. If I have to fence my yard, be able to have a dog, then I need to fence my yard. If I have to, do whatever to contain that animal and abide by the law, then that's what I need to do. It just seems like we spend a lot of time, a lot of resources, and I'm not dogging animal control. They do a good job. I've talked to Erica, all the rest of them, they do a good job. What I'm saying is, it seems like we just we spending more money on services like that. And then when it comes to the road department, we can't hire another employee, or the sheriff department can't get another deputy because we're spreading our revenue so thin. I'd like to see us figure out a way to cut some of that services back and make the people pay. A lot of people don't, even the user fee, if you use animal control, you pay a price for them coming out and picking up your dog, or them coming out and writing a citation, or them coming out just get it to the point to where we can force people to come into compliance. It's kind of like the permitting. If I go build something without a permit, I have to pay a fine, a pretty good sized fine. But if I use animal control 5 times, the first 5 times I use it, I might not get charged nothing. I might get charged, depending on what it is. But it's just like these services that we provide, the people who are using the services the most, in my opinion, should have to help us fund it. That's just something that I'd like to look at and see if we could do that. I'm not saying do away with it, because we do have animal problems, but it just seems like every year it gets a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And how much time and resources are we gonna spend on policing people with their animals? To me, it's called animal control. Control your animals. And people just refuse to do that. I still got a dog problem. I've had one for years and I still got one. And, and it just goes on and on and on and on. If people's gonna have animals, do something with them, contain them, keep them on your property. And even looking into ordinances, we have some teeth in that, in those laws. We may have to enforce it, but we've got some ways to do that. And if people refuse, just fine them. Let's charge them. Get in their pocketbook. Same with, the permitting. I know we're gonna look at it today, but
The what?
the permitting, I know we're gonna look at it today, but if we need to cut back on that somehow or make some changes, it just seems like it gets bigger and it gets bigger, and it's got a 17% increase. Somehow work towards making those services smaller and making like a road department. I went out and looked at the road that they all complained about in your district over there. They're out there grading it, doing the best job, but my goodness, I got a 2.5-inch rain Saturday afternoon. If they had graded my road and I got a 2.5-inch rain, how soon can I expect them to be back out there to grade my road? Because it just undone what they did. So, I would like to see us lean towards more of the services like roads. People use their roads every day.
And that's where we get our complaints from, is roads.
Do I?
That's where we get our complaints from too.
Yeah, I spoke out of turn or spoke too soon last time. I said I wasn't getting no road complaints. I've had about 5 in the last week.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, I would rather lean towards funding them if we can cut back on some of these other services. I know animal control is important. I'm not saying it is. People have issues, they have problems, but we got to figure out a way to make people pay for those services rather than making every taxpayer fund services that 80% of them don't use.
I guess what it comes down to, are we finding this complaints are on the same people time after time after time after time, and teaching? It seemed like every class, I had one student that I spent most of my time disciplining, and if we're spending most of the time trying to discipline a few people that are causing a lot of our time wasted, then maybe we need to be stricter with fines that will, get in their pocketbook.
That's what I'm saying. Go after the habitual offenders. And if they refuse to participate, if the law allows us, confiscate the animal. That way we don't have to deal with it no more and keep spending money on it.
I mean, is it the same people over and over, or does
Some of it is, yes, some of it is. I talked with Erica, she's got files and she can show you that, some of it is, the same people, just over and over.
How many employees right now does she have?
She has 3, and I think they're asking for 3.5, something like that, Bobby.
That's 2.5.
Huh?
That's 2.5.
2.5.
3.
You're asking for 3. Okay.
So we got 500,000 right now, how much short are we still?
252,483.
253,000,
Yes, sir.
so get that 52 from the sheriff.
But he has to pay for it, you're saying
He has
his
to pay
FRF,
for the FRS
FRS also.
and retirement, that's kind of, that of his control, he has to take from something else. I kind of like Sharon's idea of taking 250 out of the, fund balance and leaving the,
For chip and seal,
huh?
for chip and seal,
Chip and
so
seal.
that's not reoccurring.
Yeah, I kinda like take 250 of that out and leave it to balance our budget, and then take 250 out of fund balance to leave us our 500,000. That chip and seal hopefully will be only a one-time expense, and, or at least out of the fund balance will only be a one-time expense. And, that way we can move forward on chipping and sealing some roads around here and let some people see some improvements in some of the roads. I think that might be the best way to go. We are at 15,000, which is great if we don't have a big storm come through.
15 million.
15 million, excuse me, is a good amount to have, and I don't believe taking 250 out of it's gonna make much difference one way or other as far as that goes. So, we got another one brewing off the coast of Africa. Looks like it might be coming this way, but who knows, right? And we got one, going to the east of us right now, so who knows what'll happen. So I kind of tend to side with what Sharon came up with. I thought that might be a good idea. I think Daryl's was thinking that also.
About you, Kendrick and Tommy?
Well, I'm pretty much against dipping into the fund balance, as Richard and Todd keeps, encouraging us not to do. But at the same time, I could go along with it if we will all agree to, look at some departments and look at some things that we don't get ourselves back in this situation. I know we got a late start this year because of the state, but I would like to look at some other departments and see, like I said, if we can do a little bit of downsizing and a little more policing and a little more fines and stuff to get people to come in compliance rather than just keep growing those departments. And then next year, maybe we won't have this problem.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to shift my focus on, helping the sheriff do his job to the best of his ability and keep us safe, and then help the road department do the best job they could possibly do, because people use their roads every single day. And that's a lot of our complaints is road department. Now, not complaining about the road department, I think they're doing a great job with what they got to do with. But
Well,
if we could focus more on chip and seal, we could focus more on getting roads graded faster, quicker somehow. That's what I would agree to do.
Chip and seal is gonna, as we get roads covered, that's
Mhm.
gonna reduce the number of miles we have to grade, and it's gonna speed up the rotation, I think.
Well, not only that, if you get some milling on them, they'll qualify for our scrap and golf program.
Yeah.
So that'll take them completely off, like 20, Gay Road out there now. We pretty much done with that road
That's
for a
right.
long time.
No more grading.
County line out there. I just rode the county line out there. It's holding up exceptionally good, really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we need to work for it. I'd rather chip and seal the road than I had beg somebody to keep their dog in the yard.
Yeah.
but I agree, we ought to have teeth in the things we've got, so that we don't end up just spending hundreds of thousands of dollars policing the same person over and over.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that, but
We can look at
we're
the
not gonna finish that for this budget,
No.
so.
No,
I think right now the way to balance this budget and get us through is to go a little bit into the fund balance and keep that 250 and the 250 extra in the chip and seal budget.
Well, we've used the fund balance and, to do projects, so this is gonna be a project, we're gonna do the chip and seal. And hopefully we won't have any bad hurricanes, if not, we could even look if we wanted to do more, just a one-time hit, more chip and seal roads. If we don't have any hurricanes this year, we could maybe take out another 250, just for a one-time project to, if we have several roads identified to do, even another road. Just my thought,
I got.
because it's something that we're not gonna reoccur, it's not gonna be reoccurring every year.
So back to the sheriff actually ended up with a reduction of Was it 350 something?
Well, his reduction was, hold on a second. 238, 215.
His original proposal was about 900 altogether, wasn't it?
It was just under 800.
But he
That's still,
hadn't increased the FRS number, right?
Correct.
There.
they left the step in there, the step.
So will
That's-
500 balances?
That's a question.
Will 500 balances?
Well, 250 something would balance. it.
252.
252 will balance it.
To answer the question, the letter that he provided indicated that he's removed the additional positions, which going through the request, you can see where the positions were removed, the 4 positions.
Oh, yeah.
He adjusted capital outlay, in law enforcement. Originally, it was budgeted 110,000. That was reduced down to 26,451. The part I don't totally understand is it says he eliminated the employee step plan increase that was implemented last fiscal year. And that's the part that I'd have to get with him to understand, because it didn't really make sense in the proposal. So,
Can y'all follow up with him and ask him about that and see, he may be able to reduce that extra difference.
whatever the board directs me to do, that's what we'll do.
Well, again, I'm
The-
just saying 250 out of the fund balance and put that in chip and seal and then, reduce chip and seal by whatever, it'll end up all being the same, but you're putting 250 in chip and seal instead of 250 into the sheriff's budget.
I think what you have on the sheriff's budget is he submitted you an up-to-date budget. This is what he went through, this is what he gave him. And as we spoke before, all you do is give constitutionals amount of money. They can use it however they want to. So this is what he's asked for. If that's what y'all want to do, that's what I would go with at today's meeting. And then let him use it within his budget the way he best sees fit, because really and truly once you give it to him, you can't tell him how he can and can't use it or any constitutional. So
So
if this is what he's asked for, just move, if y'all feel like you want to take that out of fund balance to balance it, I would just move forward and go ahead and so that you get your
397.
budget. You can't keep waiting on it because you're gonna run out of time.
You mean the
Well-
397, Mr. Puffy?
Whatever he requested right here today, which I think we're right.
No, I'm looking at his letter over here.
Is that right?
Well, it's
I'm looking at this here.
I mean, it's a 397,000 increase.
Right.
It's a 238,000 decrease from his original request.
Right. I mean, that's what he's requested. If the board feels good with that, taking the rest out of the.
So the request is 9,499,241.
Yeah.
So basically, if the board's okay with that number, then we move forward. The challenge, I think, is that, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have any other meetings scheduled. If we want to continue moving forward, asking for additional requests, we can do that, but we'll need to go ahead and schedule another meeting, or otherwise it's kind of,
I feel he went above and beyond removing the 4 positions and cutting it as much as he could cut it and still keep the, police or the sheriff's office functioning. So I'm willing to give him the amount he's requested, because, I mean, he did cut it quite a bit, and he can't control FRS, and he can't control the retirement he's gotta put in. He needs that money. I'd like to go ahead and approve his last request that was put in, and then let's take the 250 out of the, chip and seal and, balance the budget there, and then we can take money out of the fund balance to put in chip and seal later if we want to, or we can do it now.
Go ahead, do it
whichever way
now.
you wanna do it.
So you're saying approve the new submission?
Yeah.
Because, we ain't gonna get that money from the constitutional officers, because they've already either
Everybody-
they've already gone down, or it went up because of FRS, and you can't get 252 from that.
Most of the constitutional officers, I think,
They
did a good
did.
job of trying to
Right now.
keep their budgets at as low as they could, and, so
Make a motion to it, let's go.
John, this is all based on 8.5, right?
This is based on 8.5 and since we're kind of there,
Is that a 2% increase included in this?
Yes.
this includes the 2% increase, for board departments as well as constitutionals. It's an 8.5 mil on the general. It's rollback for the EMS, MSTU of 0.9026. And then, of course, the fire and solid waste assessments, are continuation.
Do you need a motion to take, to
I,
change this? or
I
you
just
think
need,
everybody-
I just need direction,
I
you
think
know,
everybody
if,
told you.
if the board, agrees with that,
Yeah.
yeah. But this allows us to go ahead and be prepared for the tentative budget workshop. We can also, in essence, go ahead and start preparing the ad. So that we typically submit that to DOR ahead of time to get their approval, before, so that once the board approves it, we can get that submitted quickly, to get the ad in. So if everybody agrees,
yeah, I'd like to put 250 out of fund balance in there, in the chip and seal pot, and reduce the chip and seal that we proposed earlier by 50%.
No, we're not gonna reduce the chip and seal. It's still gonna be $500,000,
Well, I know, but-
Mr. Martin.
We're gonna reduce it by
Right,
half, and then the
right.
250 is out of the fund balance,
Right.
that's gonna go back in to make up for that.
okay,
When will we get the trim notices for what we advertise?
I believe they were being sent out, tomorrow, if I remember right. I think they have to be sent out by the 24th. And Damon at the VAB meeting had mentioned, I think August 19th, which is tomorrow. So they'll be coming out shortly.
We don't have a certain amount of time. We've got to wait for that to get to the mailboxes, and then people, I guess the September meeting is really the opportunity for residents to come in and speak up.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Yeah, we're proposing lowering the millage, general millage by 0.2 from 8.7 to 8.5, and the EMS, MSTU from 1 to 0.9026. I would like to see us go lower on the general millage, but it would mean some more difficult decisions on some things, and I feel like what I've so far, the board side and even the constitutional side, I want to say it's around $1 million or roughly less than what was proposed originally. So there's been a lot of effort, I think, to try to lower what was proposed, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Well, it still, like we've always said, it boils down to, what level of service do you want? We've got this amount of money and we're gonna provide this amount of service for the money that we got. The sheriff's gonna work within whatever he gets, and he's agreed to that, and I like his attitude about that.
Yeah.
Bobby's gonna do the same thing, everybody else gonna do the same thing. As far as, yeah, would we like to lower the millage rate? Yeah, I'm a taxpayer, I'd love to, lower it, but, we got the bills to pay and we got service to provide, and that's what we're trying to do now.
Yep.
Provide the best service we can with the dollars we got.
Still want an ambulance when someone needs it, and a sheriff when someone needs it, and the dump to be open when I need it to be, and so I can get rid of my trash, and for, the property appraiser's office to be open when I go over there, and the tax collector, even though every time I go in there, I have to write them a check, I still like it to be open when I have to go do that. So, if you want a change of services, then we can cut the budget $1 million. If you want everything open and running like it's running right now, we're gonna have to stay at 8.5.
That's the way I look at it.
Todd, how about the fund balances? What shape would be in after? Is that the next page? Is it the colored, the second from the last?
That was just if the board considered different, millage rates in
Oh,
general.
okay.
It was just to kind of give you an idea of what that would look like. These numbers, again, were prior to the sheriff change. But that's what it was prior to the.
Probably gonna have
Could we go to and just this, a thought, since the chip and seal is a one-time, you know, it's not reoccurring. Could we go to the 8.4 and then take all the $500,000 out of the, fund balance? If we go to 8.4 mils?
Just for me too, mention 8.4, so you got 243,000 right there, correct? Then
You
gotta
got,
add the
well,
money.
you'd be 402,
Right, you gotta add the other money to it, correct?
correct.
Yes, so you gotta add roughly the 252, isn't it, or 402?
Well, you'd add 159,000,
Okay. That's right, because all the rest of it's in there.
yes.
Could that be a possibility?
Anything's a possibility. I think, I think the chip and seal has the potential to be good for Gilchrist County, in the fact that hopefully it's going to reduce expenses moving forward. I think that adding chip and seal to the mix does open up the opportunity for drastic spending in the future. So again, you know, I think it does have some good potential, but I think it also has the potential to be devastating long-term if we're not cautious, if we're not careful. I think in the state of the county, it was mentioned we have 350 miles of unpaved roads. If you were to chip and seal every mile of that, you're looking at around $31 million.
Yeah.
We have 15 in fund balance,
Yeah.
not taking into account that we have to keep about 7.5 of that in, per our policy. So basically, we have about $7 million that we could spend on $30 million worth of roads. So with caution, I'm going to say that chip and seal has the ability to potentially lower some expenses, but it has the potential to open up that everybody needs their road paved now.
Yeah, anytime you do one, everybody's gonna, how come you didn't do mine? I've already got calls on the Gay Road over there. The people on the other side want to know if we can jump across 340 and keep going. But there are certain qualifications for that program there, like I told them. But I see what you're saying, but I think if we do the trial thing and we look at our expenses and how much we did save or how much we did cost, we're gonna have to be very cautious about. I mean, if we can do a half a mile every year or 5 miles every year, whatever we can do, and proceed with caution and accomplish that, then that may be all that we can afford to do. But at least it'll be a start. It'll be a help. If we can reduce our road maintenance, by X number of dollars, then it means that we can chip and seal a little bit more next year because we save that much money. We just I agree with you, because if you do one, everybody's gonna know how come when we're gonna do theirs.
Currently,
And we just
you
have to be
have,
careful with it.
currently you have about 12 miles of road that if you could get those off of your graders, you're gonna eliminate 70% of your problem. Okay? But what you gotta realize is these particular roads are highly traveled roads, so by chip and sealing 12 miles, you just took 36 miles probably of grading off, because you have to make at least 3 passes on each road. So I agree with what you're saying. If this one gets it, that one wants it, but I don't think in any of our lifetime in here, we'll see all the roads in Gilchrist County paved, but because of some growth spurts in certain areas, about 12 miles is what you've got that we figured out. You get those 12 miles done, and you're probably gonna cut out literally 75% of where it is, because, and nothing against that, it's just, there's so much traffic on those roads.
Yeah.
Until,
And I think that's some of the criteria we could use in picking the roads that we pick. We're gonna have to have some type,
Great.
why'd you pick that road?
well, let me just say, we got some great criteria for doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
But here's where I'm at. I haven't been keeping that from people, but if you're not gonna fund it, there's no need to put the criteria together.
Yeah.
I don't mean that to be rude.
No.
If you don't wanna fund it, don't, but if we're not going to do it, we can put all the information in the world together.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna benefit us, but, I mean, we, on the, each one of you probably can give me a road in your district, I'm not asking you to right now,
One right
that
now.
is a problem road, okay? And I will bet you it will probably match up with the car counts,
Mhm.
how many times we've graded it, the number of phone calls we get. It's all gonna come together really, really good. But, and you're gonna know it because you get the phone calls, but you just think about the road that you get the most phone calls on, and you've went out and it legit does have issues. Get that road done and just think what you just did, that might be 50% of your issues or 60.
And you made a lot of travelers happy, because they're the ones that
You
continue.
have, and you've also saved the county a lot of money
Yeah.
because now they're not making special trips or additional trips or all of this to do that, because every time you just got a grader, they don't travel fast. They're like a farm tractor, and they gotta drive down the road and they gotta drive way across a quarter of the county.
Mhm.
If that takes 2 hours, an hour there and an hour back, you got 2 hours, you didn't get anything done that day.
Right.
Instead of great. So you have to think of all of those things, but I guess my point is every time we pave a road, there's somebody wanting to know why theirs didn't get paved and the other one got paved. So
Yeah.
that will always happen, but I do think once you see, you may come up in this if you get 5 miles or whatever done this coming year, you might see that does so well, you may say, hey, that's done so well, we want to do another $500,000 the next year and the next year. And time your graders get to where they got a lease, you may only need at least 3 next time.
That's right.
Yeah, if the savings is greater than the cost of paving, then let's move forward and chip and seal.
You
If we're gonna save money in the road department, then that's a smart move. But are we gonna save our $500,000 by chip and sealing 5 miles road?
You're not buying fuel, you're not buying grader blades, you're not buying tires, you're not leasing a grader.
Yep, it'd be nice after 1 year to see what we think that has saved the county. And then if it is saving the money that it possibly could save, then I would have no problem moving forward. But I think $500,000 is a good number to start off with, to see how it works. They may not have enough time to chip and seal that many roads. I mean, they're busy with everything else going on and takes employees to do it. They may not have time to really do much more chip and seal than the 5 miles we planned for this year. So I think we're good at that 500,000 right now. Let's see how it works. Let's see how much money we potentially save. Let's see how much time it takes to get it done. And then next year, if we like what we see, we can move forward with maybe another 500,000 or more if it saves that kind of money.
I'd still like to go to the 8.4 and take the 500,000 out of, fund balance.
I'm pretty set on the 8.5, but that's.
Cause I know people are having a hard time right now, groceries going up, electricity bills going up.
Electricity.
Yes, and we just saw that in our budget, you know, how the electricity bills gone up. I mean, I'm just thinking about the people who live paycheck to paycheck, you know, at 8.4, it's still gonna be, you know, increase their taxes because property values have gone up. And, you know, this is a one-time thing, the $500,000 out of fund balance would still be, you know, way over our projected, target. That's just my thoughts.
So how much we'd have to make up then if we went to 8.4? Then take out of fund balance?
$150,000.
And then the 500,000 would come out of,
What's that, $5 a person, $10 a person, property owner? Is that about $10 a property owner? Probably.
Well, if you're looking at homesteaded, I mean, the problem is it's a multi-factor formula. It's based on your values. If your values increased, if you're homesteaded, it's capped at how much it can increase. So, I mean,
The 3% table home.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, if somebody's property values didn't go up, you know, if they went down, then they're gonna save even more. So it just-
I'm good with
depends.
8.5, like we talked about a while ago.
Everything's been bigger than 8.5.
Yeah.
well, he has it here, 8.3, 8.4, he has it figured all different ways, so. He has it figured for everything right here. I just know the fund balance, you know, we've taken out money to, for for projects like the solid waste facility. Why couldn't we just take the whole 500,000? I mean, it may not even work. We may not decide this is not the route we want to go. You know, just for an experiment this year to see how it works to do chip and seal on $500,000. I just know
Well, we've
times
got
are
the
hard.
500,000 in there. I mean, that's what we have done. I don't think we have to take out of somebody, I don't think we have to take more out of fund balance to try something. I think we've got it in there with the 250 that we're gonna take out of fund balance. That balance our budget, that keeps everybody with the budgets they requested. Takes care of our chip and seal. It's a one-time deal. We'll see how it works, and then maybe next year we can move forward with that if it's reasonable and it's saving the money we think.
Well, with the interest rate we get, Commissioner Martin, off of the, fund balance,
That's right.
you know, why can't we just go ahead and just do it 500,000 out of fund balance and lower the millage rate to 8.4 to help people out who are in need in our county right now? We have groceries have gone up, electric bills have gone up. We gotta help these people. That's just my thought.
Do you want to vote on it? You want to make a motion?
I think the challenge in it as well
We can't
is,
vote.
is we're talking about using this as a one-time, you know, we're gonna remove this out of fund balance one time. But we're talking about a program that we think probably want to continue to do every year. So to say it's a one-time thing, and it is a, you know, if you say you're using it for the chip and seal, you know, to me, that is more of an appropriate use than, you know, for instance, personnel, you know, adding positions or, you know, covering raises. But to say it's a one-time expense, if we're considering doing this moving forward, you know, I'm not sure that we can really say it's a one-time expense because we're gonna look at doing it again next year.
Do we have the fund balance? Would it be projected at the end of 26?
With
Um,
interest included.
Well, if you remove the 252,483 from the 15,570, so 15,250, basically rough numbers.
Is this with interest included
With interest.
for the next year? And then,
Yeah, well, interest rates are going down, unfortunately.
and Commissioner Langford, next year we could look at, not next year, but starting like when our new budget starts, we can start looking at, like you said, you know, look at departments and see how we can cut there. But, and that could help us for next year, not waiting, you know, a month or two before, you know, we have to make our decision, but start right away.
Yeah, I think we're getting better at looking at what we're spending per resident. Y'all gathered that for us earlier and comparing us to other counties. And what I remember is we're in the middle or lower compared to other counties per department, almost across the board in departments. So that's a good thing. I think, the Doge is gonna help us compare other counties and how we spend money, and, that's gonna help everybody. So the more of that kind of information we have and we can provide to every department, and we can look at percent increases over the last 5 years, that's gonna help people say, okay, we need to evaluate this, or we're doing pretty good or not. And if we continue that, next year, hopefully we'll be in good shape when we come into budget to be a.
I don't know how much those actually help us that balance in our budget, because we're not spending stuff like Alachua County.
I agree with you, Richard.
They
Yeah.
are focused on DEI,
Yeah.
equity and inclusion, and Green New Deal. I don't see any farmers buying a
Right.
battery operated truck.
Yeah, I don't think we're wasting money. I think what it'll help us do is compare to other counties. And we can do that already some, because I know we've gotten some of that data. The more we get that kind of thing, we can evaluate where we're at.
Well, you know, again, just, you know, we haven't finished this budget yet, but I can tell you next year, our revenues are going down.
Yep.
Interest rates are, and I believe they're anticipating a quarter, at least a quarter cut this month, or not this month,
Right.
September. And I was actually at investment training this past Friday. The consensus is we're gonna see probably 0.75% drop before the end of the year.
Hmm.
What does that mean? It means that the money that we do have in fund balance is not earning as much.
Right.
So our revenues are going down. And I can also guarantee you that some of our expenses are going up next year.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have potentially less revenues with more expenses. And so, you know, the conversation we were having earlier is even more important. You know, it's figuring out that level of service. Where can we find reductions? You know, where can we find savings? Because, you know, and again, that's not even taking into account what the legislature is potentially going to do next year. You know, if they were to reduce sales tax, or if they were to do some sort of changes,
Property tax.
caps to ad valorem, or eliminating ad valorem, you know, all of those things that we've discussed earlier, you know, this budget process, you know, all of those things are going to potentially be factors for next year. So, you know, as our revenues potentially are declining, our expenses are continuing to increase. You know,
Well, the way I try to look at it, we're elected to spend the taxpayers' money, basically, balance the budget and do this and do that. And when I look at it, I try to provide what is the best service I can provide for the amount of money that we collect, without going up or anything else. I know everybody's in a pinch, but at the same time, that's the reason I want to look at the departments and make sure that, you know, we're giving them the best bang for their buck as far as services is, you know, that we can provide for them. I hate to cut the sheriff's budget simply for the fact I know what kind of work he does. And I sat down with him too and look at, trying to separate, you know, owners from needers. And he has a tough job, a very tough job. Trying to provide public safety, response time, all this services that he's mandated to do in a lot of cases. It's like running that jail. That's a big job, running that jail. That's a big jail. 80, 90 inmates, there's a lot of trouble that can stir up right there. I'm all in favor of him having what he needs to do his job, and he does a great job, and he'll do it with whatever we give him. He's already stated that. But I want to look at every department like that and try to provide the best service we can for the taxpayer dollars that we're spending. And I know everybody wants to be thanked.
I every year have been a proponent of keeping the fund balance high because I know the storms, even more so this year than storms, is the uncertainty of what's gonna happen next year. Are they gonna cut property taxes? Are they gonna cut? They're gonna make some cuts next year, and I think we need to go into next year with a fund balance that can keep us from having to make really hard decisions next year. You think the decisions have been hard this year? Let's
Could get
do
worse.
this when we're $3-4 million out of budget and trying to come up with this kind of money. It's gonna be really tough. And so I think a strong fund balance is a necessity for not only living in Florida where storms hit regularly, but also for the uncertainty of what's gonna happen in Tallahassee next year. That's why I'm still would like to live it at 8.5.
Yeah, I want to instruct the staff to work on what we got proposed here, the 8.5 with the chip and seal program and everything like we got, just like we talked about. I'm in favor of that.
I'm in favor of 8.5 is what we had to give them, the people that cut and millage rate plus, MSTU and stuff. If we could cut some more next year, we'd get some more next year. But I don't want to go to what Sharon's suggesting, and next year have to raise it.
I'm fearful of what next year holds, to be honest with you.
That bad days come. We'll take good days.
Yep.
So I'm at 8.5.
That's my instruction. Y'all need anything else?
Think we're good?
We'd vote on that in the regular meeting coming up.
yeah, well, it'll be voted on at September 4th.
Okay, September 4th.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
No, the only thing you can vote on now is the recommendation that that's how you want them to prepare their paperwork going forward.
But we can't vote on in a workshop, I thought.
You can't, you're not finalizing it. It's already been advertised on the trim and you're
Well, I
gonna have a
think you can
tentative
put
budget
your-
on September 11th.
Commissioner
But if
said
y'all are at
April
an
now.
impasse, you can vote to instruct him to prepare his paperwork. That doesn't mean you're binding anybody other than giving him direction.
But outside of that, I think we have what we need
Yeah.
in order to move forward. We want to go ahead and conclude this and go on to the
Yeah.
board meeting.
And thank y'all again for
Yep,
everything
thanks.
y'all
Well,
do.
if any red flags come up in between, please let us.
Yeah,
know.
but
Yes, sir.
we need to have another meeting by the time.
We can call
Um,
emergency meeting if we're here.
Actually, before we conclude, just one quick note. I haven't gotten approval yet from the chief judge, but we attempted to correct the generator problem at courthouse about 3 weeks ago, I think. And once they got in there, they realized that there is no shut off for the power supply to the courthouse. So we're actually going to have to shut the power off. The request has been for us to close, I think, August 29th. So that basically Duke can come and shut the power off so that they can make basically fix the, what is it, transfer switch, I guess?
Transfer switch, yeah.
Repair the transfer switch for the generator for the courthouse.
That's on a Friday, you'll be closed all day?
Yes, sir. And I still have to get chief judge approval for it, but that's the plan as of right now, as long as we get approval to move forward. So,
I say do what you gotta do.
I move to adjourn the budget. meeting.
Todd, did that cover all your other departments and budget discussions?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passed.